All right, so welcome to it. This is the Boss Moves Media Show. A little bit of glitches here and there, but we are here and hopefully we are fully audible and we are live. We're live just about everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We are there and we're going to try and get a hold of our guests. They've been so patiently waiting for us to put out our drama. And technology has just got so much drama, but we'll try and
Hi,
make it work
Naira.
anyway.
How are
George,
you?
hi, George. Good to see you.
Nice
I'm
to see
good.
you
How are you
too.
doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. It's about 12 o'clock here, so I'm doing
Yeah,
better.
that is amazing. And how's your day been so far? I mean, I know you're starting out your day, but you guys have already had an interview, right?
That got canceled. She had an emergency with a client, a patient,
Yeah.
sorry. So
But other than that, everything's going well. Everything's good.
everything is good. Got done with all
Yeah.
my honeydew stuff I got to do today, so it's
hmm
definitely all good.
Is Frasier here with us?
Frazier will be with us shortly.
No worries. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate that you took time out to have a chat with me today. I mean, I love you guys. I love the work that you do. I love the energy that you carry with you. I just love your vibe, and really, it is truly infectious. Let's start first things first because I've been doing some research and I've been trying to get to know who George and Fraser are, beyond the podcast. And I've
Right.
gotten a little bit successful, not much, but tell me, who is George?
George is a quandrum. And the reason why I say quandrum is because I've had a lot of experiences in my life that
Mhm.
put me into the person that I am right now. So, George is a martial artist. He's a martial arts instructor. He's a real estate investor. He's an author. He's a dad. He's a husband. He's a faithful husband. I think I'm a present father.
Yay!
What else? You know, I that's it. I enjoy working out. I enjoy sitting down watching TV. I enjoy being healthy. That's really who I am
I
today.
love that. And it's interesting because everything you've said, you've actually written a book about. And that is incredible. You've told me
Yes,
about your martial arts, you wrote a book about that. You've told me about your healthy lifestyle, you wrote a book about that. You've told me about what else? Property, you didn't tell me about
real
that. And I want to
estate, real
know
estate,
real
real
estate.
estate.
Yeah,
Yes.
real estate. And you also wrote another book. What's the fourth book again?
Fourth book is how to use your credit rating to become your own hard money lender. So that book is really about finance and what you need to know in the U.S. system of finance to be able to become self-sufficient. It's a journey that I learned about 3 years ago, and I felt it was so important that I put that in a book to help other people. Because the thing is, you know, we're stuck in such an economic situation here in this country, and maybe not just in this country, but you know, as Black people in this country, we earn about 80 cents on the dollar compared to our white counterparts. Black women earn about 70 to 75 cents compared to their white counterparts. We are economically disadvantaged when it comes to purchasing anything. So in other words, if we have a car application, we'll be charged an extra percentage point because we're quote unquote considered risky. If it's a mortgage, they'll give us, you know, another point on that mortgage because we're considered risky. If it's a business loan, you know what I mean? We'll get higher financing charges, you know, because we're considered risky. So we're always at an economic disadvantage. And our mindset here is always to work, work, work. You know, since they brought us here as slaves, that's always been our mindset. Our mindset is, well, if we need money, go get another job. So now you have a lot of us who were raised in households where parents had two jobs and a part-time job, so to speak, you know what I mean, to make ends meet. And during that process, we were taught wrong about finances and how finances really work. And so I really wanted to be able to let everybody know that you can turn the corner and you can benefit from the financial system the way that our white counterparts benefit from the financial system to give you the freedom that you need to have the quality of life that you're looking for.
Yeah, I love that, but at the same time, it concerns me. I was part of an event last year. It was conducted, and I think it was sponsored by the Black Chamber of Commerce in the US. And it was a digital event happening in New York City. I stand to be corrected. But in the event, a lot of talk was on credit, right? And improving your credit score and having a good, you know, credit record. And for me, it just sounds like we're really pushing our people, Black people, especially young Black professionals, into the money lending and the money borrowing and the, you know, the credit system. Is there no risk in that?
No, I mean, because that's the entry into capital. So let me put it to you another way. Let's look at real estate.
Right.
All right. Frazier and I know each other from real estate. We've known each other for 7 years. As a matter of fact, Frazier contacted me about a deal up in the Buffalo area that he was interested in. And I went and I analyzed the deal. I broke it down for him and told him if it was a good deal or a bad deal, simply because from my mother's side of the family, we have family all the way that lives up there, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, things of that nature. So if I want to buy, or let's do something big. If I want to build a hotel, right? I don't work 1,000 jobs to save money to build a hotel. I fund, I raise money, I raise a certain amount of capital for exploration, blueprints, feasibilities, right? And then lenders will say, okay, we want some institutional money to come in, which would be banks, right? And then you'll have private money come in. So that makes the whole 100% to get the hotel built.
Right.
So you have to pay attention to your credit, because when you take on a venture like that, maybe a hotel is too big. Let's just say you're doing a restaurant. Everybody wants to know that the person that they're doing business with is of valid and viable credit standing. You see what I mean? Like, for instance, you're not going to give a guy $1 million to frame out and build a restaurant for you when you look at his credit profile and he don't pay his bills. That's a red flag. Yeah. You see what I mean? So everything is credit driven here in this country, and that's the access to money. Now, how do you use that money? A lot of people don't understand that when you're in credit markets and things of that nature, and believe it or not, the entire stock market is built on credit and leverage. That's what got us into the troubles when the stock market crashed, when the housing bubble crashed, right?
Yeah.
The yields that they were getting from these mortgage-backed securities, people couldn't believe it because they were turning hand over fist, 100%, 100%, 100. You couldn't lose until they found out that that package that they wrapped it called mortgage-backed securities really wasn't what it was. I mean, you had countries, if you remember, like Iceland and a few other countries, literally go bankrupt because they had 70% of their assets in U.S. mortgage-backed securities. You know, so credit is really how it works here in this country. And if you know how to use credit or leverage credit, you'll be able to carve out a decent existence for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
I understand everybody says, well, I don't want debt. I don't want to have to be debt or owe anybody. But that's just how the game works. If you want to make sizable gains. Now, if you are okay working a job and doing something part-time, that's great. But if you want the type of freedom that you're looking for, that's the only way that you're going to have access to the type of credit that you need or capital that you need to be able to put that, whatever it is, put that thing in place for you to become debt free. You see what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, now that you're talking about, the property crash and and just the economic crash, looking back at what happened in 2008, we're in a pretty similar position, financially, economically, globally.
Yes.
Are we going to see something similar to what happened in 2008, or are we seeing that already?
No, we're not. And the reason why I
Okay.
don't think we are is because governments across the world have the ability, if they're smart, to pump enough money into the economy to get it going and then pull the money out after the economy is going. Okay. That's their specialty. The last administration may not have been able to understand that because of just lack of global intellectualism and how the global economy works. But I have a lot of confidence because this particular president was in office as the vice president when the last president, Said Amin, went and did that and pulled us from the brink.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of knowledge on how to do it. That's why I know it scares a lot of people when you hear a $1.9 billion rescue package and $1.9 trillion rescue package and a $2 trillion infrastructure package. Well, the infrastructure is needed. You can just research and Google it right now. How many bridges have collapsed in the United States in the last 15 years? And that number will astound you because of the infrastructure has been neglected. So he understands all of that. And as a matter of fact, President Obama was the one that designated him during their administration to be able to execute the rescue plan that Obama put in place with the TARP and everything else to be able to stabilize the economy. Because what a lot of people don't understand, during that last housing market crash, we were literally talking to people in the financial industry. We were literally moments away from all the banks crashing. They took almost $9 trillion out of the global economy during the housing market crash. $9 trillion. To put that in perspective, the US economy is only a $15 trillion a year economy. $1.5 trillion left the US economy when the housing market crashed. 1.5 trillion. So banks were crushed when it came to leverage, when it came to liquidity. When they got their TARP money, they were just literally plugging holes. And the reason why that's important is because if banks don't have the money to pay you and the government doesn't have the money to pay you, then the FDIC, federal insured money that you have in your banks, they don't have money to pay you. You see what I mean? So that's basically how that works. And back to today, when COVID happened, towards the end of the year, we started seeing late mortgage payments around 35 to 70%. So those are real red flags because the last time we saw late mortgage payments that high, we hit the housing market crash. So this administration was smart enough to inject enough money into the economy right now to put everybody on pause, let everybody relax for a minute. Let's see what's happened. Let's pull ourselves back from the brink. But like I said, slowly but surely, once they pull the money out, once the economy starts going again, once people start traveling, dining, buying houses, building businesses, getting infrastructure in place, they will slowly pull that money back out, whether it be through taxation, whether it be through anything else. They slowly will. And that's what will keep the global economy going, in my opinion.
Yeah. So no more lockdowns. That's what you're saying. People need to go back to normal right now.
Yes, take the vaccine and go back to normal,
Take the vaccine and go back to normal. A lot of people are anti-vaccine, but story for another day, right? And I mean, I absolutely love how you have kind of created an entire value chain around the work that you do, your passions, and just bringing them together. What was the whole idea behind the podcast, The Real Talk with George and Fraser?
Fraser came to me last summer and said he wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I had some experience with podcasting back in 2008 to 2012. So I thought I could add value to the show. But
And George is
literally.
here. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But literally, okay. Um, I had just been sitting around not doing anything because of COVID. I was locked down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, let's do the show. And so we laid the show out. We did the show. Hey, Frage.
Hey,
What's
Frazier,
up?
we're talking about you right now.
So, Frage,
You know how to enter the
increase your
show.
volume.
Okay, right? Okay, hold on.
We got you.
Hear me now? Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Turn your camera
Good.
up. I can only see half your face.
There we go.
Sorry, Frage and I talk like this all the time. I
I
didn't mean to
love
take over
it.
your
I love
show.
it though.
Oh, okay, this is us.
We're just talking about how the show, The Real Talk with George and Frazier, came about. And he says, you contacted him last summer and you're like, hey, I want to do a podcast. And he's like, all right, let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go. So we laid the show out. After we laid the show out, we started broadcasting and podcasting, and it worked out good because I was at a point in my stage last summer where I was just finishing my books, and I knew that I needed a platform to talk about them and everything else that was happening. And podcasting was a good outlet for us to be able to express ourselves. You know, what was happening in our communities as young Black men, fathers, entrepreneurs, business people, and what was happening just globally and how things were moving. That's why we made the show more of like a variety show. Then we turned and said we're only going to talk about politics, or we're only going to talk about medical this, or we're only going to talk
Yep.
about that, because life for us really is not that one dimensional. Frazier and I are in real estate, but Frazier and I both are martial artists. I studied Taekwondo and Hapkido. He's a Muay Thai fighter. You see what I mean? So
I love that.
it just turns.
Diverse. You're
Yes.
very diverse, and it's clear in the caliber of people you have on your podcast. How do you go about finding the right person for a particular show? What do you do?
Well,
Where do you search?
that's just every platform that I look at, because I know that you can't just search in one particular place because there's
Yeah.
so many diversity of people all over. Some people get overlooked in Twitter, some people overlook it in LinkedIn, some people overlook the Instagram. So what I did was I looked at all of them. I stay up 24 hours pretty much looking at every single platform, and I find individuals who have something to say, somebody a platform who is influential, who don't ever get a chance to express themselves because not enough out there, because
Right.
people only want to do politics, people only want to do sports, people want to do women enhancement, men enhancement, but nobody in a diverse show where it shows that everybody can meet at one place and actually change the world in one group. So me and George started telling you we'll build a family. So we come on a show, it's not just you got a guest, you're a family member. We
Right.
treat you like family. You need us for anything, promote anything, we're there for you. We go to your events. Like I came to Philadelphia for one of our family member events, R&B Fest. And I travel, if George travel, he can do it, or I do it. Either way, we try to show our love to each other and our family members who come on the show. And I learned that people have so much to say and so little place to do it.
Yes.
And that's the big thing. And I noticed that I looked on like Clubhouse has a lot of people. Africans have a lot to talk about, but
Yeah.
not a lot of platforms from come out there. Nigerians and everybody else don't have nowhere to express themselves.
Right.
So I reached out to a lot of them. And as a German that I reach out to, Korean I reach out to. I reach out to every nationality because they all have a voice. And over many years, we noticed that people have missed some people. Oh, I hate this people because this person, hate this person, but nobody knows them.
Right.
Nobody ever took the time to get to know the individual or what their culture is about.
That's
So that's
right.
why this show is so important to us, and not our baby. This is our life show. We want to change the world, me and George. So we started to do that way, make it so diverse, to give everybody a chance to voice their opinion, no matter what walks of life you're from, what community you're from. We want to give you a voice on our show and express yourself. People get to know you, about you. And
It is.
not enough people do that. And that's the best thing about it. When we met you on the show, beautiful show, wonderful show.
Yeah.
We think about it, we'd have never met you if we didn't put you on the show. We never known about the great
That's
things
right.
you're doing in the community, the great
That's
things
right.
our institutions you are doing. We'd have never known that, And other people need to know those things because they already a closed box. We've been grew up in a closed box for years. Nobody think outside that box.
And
Nobody
thank you
think
for
outside.
that. Absolutely. I love that. I love the fact that you guys think outside of the box. Everything that you do is just so unconventional. And truly, that is at the essence of your brand. And I mean, speaking of branding, you spoke about Clubhouse, you spoke about different platforms. How do you go about positioning yourself in a way that'll help you in your business, in your podcast, in your case, in building your influence? How do you position yourself in these platforms? What do you have to do to not just out, but to be authentic? What do you do?
Well, let me answer that.
That's a
We
great.
don't look for that first. Okay,
Sure.
because if you look for branding, if you look for customers, if you look for viewership, it's not authentic. We want
Yeah.
people to understand George and Frazier. We want people to understand us. And you may not like us, you may not like our content, you may not like our platform, but at least you've come and said hello and we've had a conversation. You see what I mean?
Mm.
Because we feel like if we do it that way, as opposed to just saying, oh, watch our show, watch our show, watch our show. I got a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes out so gimmicky that everybody's
Yes.
just like, because everything you see in the internet now has to deal with ads of somebody selling you a program, talking to you
Mhm.
about a program, this, that, and the third. Nobody really asks you, hey, how are you doing? What are you
Yes.
doing? How are you
I love
feeling?
that.
You know,
Exactly.
and that's what changes the dynamics. When we offer advice or give tips on the show to young Black entrepreneurs who want to start nonprofit organizations, and we talk to them about city, local, federal grant loans, they're like, we didn't know any of this stuff. So it's just knowledge that we have that we give freely. And what happens? Those people now come back and turn us on. Oh, we met George, we met Frazier, this, that, and the third. And
Mhm.
little slowly but surely, connections happen here. We had another young lady on, Miss Lois from South Africa. She's doing coaching for pitch decks and things of that nature. And
Wow.
she's doing a lot of international business. And, you just don't know how those are going to, how those relationships are going to bear fruit in the future. But we don't look
Mm.
for those relationships now.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Exactly.
And I mean, what you said is so important. You add value, you add value to the people, to the audience. And a lot of times we get soaked into selling and trying to, get people to take action, and then we forget the value part of it. So I really love what you said there. Now, tell me, regarding your move into the digital space. I mean, I was searching and researching the Real Talk with George and Fraser. You guys are on every single audio platform. I mean, I'm talking, Apple. I'm talking Amazon, iHeart. You guys are everywhere. How did you position yourselves like that? Like, what do you do? Did you get a consultant? Are, are you knowledgeable about podcast before you started?
Well, I did film. See, I did film. George also did
Nice.
podcasting before. So what we did, we kind of teamed up and made a game plan on how we going to initially how we gonna get into the streaming platform. We looked at several different things before we started. I mean, you have from every me. I tell George trying to list of things. Hey, George, try this. Look at this. Look at this. George, like, no, it's not gonna work, Grace. It's not gonna work, Grace. What do we do? So
I can hear him.
I'm like saying like, okay, everybody try this way. So what we did, we finally found one platform that limits a lot of access, third, fourth access stuff to late. We made it simplified. With the old chemistry, simplicity. Keep
Right.
it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And limit yourself to other things. Because what you do is, when you start adding steps to it, you take away from the concept of what you're actually trying to do, what your objective is. And what we did was we simplified the objective. And when I did that, I told George, we got this platform does this, but we can actually use that platform to stream to this one.
Mhm.
So like we do a platform now that does everything. It pretty much give me the stats, how many people listening, where listening
Yeah.
from. So I
Yeah.
know how to position myself on what market I want to enter into.
Right.
Sure.
So now, if somebody's still trying to do the same thing, the best thing I tell you is that you do StreamYard. That's a good platform for audio and visual, which can give you the MP3 and MP4. Now I take that same thing, MP3, and I put it onto another thing called Buzzsprout,
Mhm.
which actually does everything for you. Now it does charge you a fee, and nothing not that free, but compared to other platforms that were $3, $4, $5, $600, it's not that much. And you
Right.
get just as much value as you would for either of them.
All
And
right.
then so I also use that one.
So just repeat those platforms for somebody who's listening who wants to podcast on a large scale like you guys?
Oh well, the first step we can do. I mean, this platform is pretty good too. We use StreamYard. That's one StreamYard is very good for actually downloading the MP3 and MP4. So you actually be able to do two things. You can actually put the MP4 on YouTube or any other platform to do video, and MP3 you use Buzzsprout, which will actually allow you to access to all other platforms like iHeartRadio, Apple, everything. It gives you the platform to apply for them. And
Right.
once you apply for it, when you get the RSR link, then you can actually start applying to different ones. And what it do is, the number one thing they ask you for is quality of your audio. So
Right.
as long as your audio is quality, but the best thing about Buzzsprout is it gives you a mastering part to it. So say you did on Anchor or somewhere else, and audio is not as great. It can actually master and measure the level down to an equal level to voices, so you can actually be qualified to go on Apple,
Right.
qualified to go on iHeartRadio, and so it kind of limits a lot of excess stuff to do and money you have to spend to get it mastered. And I
Right.
started doing that too. So, and I know people charge $300 just to master one audio,
Right.
not just audio. And we have a lot. And like I said, me and George, we do a lot of content within the weeks. So that'd be a lot more, it's feasible to do what we do it now.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
anybody wants to do it that way, that would be a good way to start off, is to do it those two spots first.
And also,
I lo-
look, do what you can do. Do what you can do.
Yes.
And
With
the
what
reason
you
why that's
have.
exactly the reason why that's important is because everybody wants to look, because of the pandemic, internet use went up almost 70%. Podcasting has gone up almost 80%. Everybody now has something to say. And so podcasters and all these platforms are not going to stop. Yeah, they want your $30 a month or your $300 a year to join their platform. But do what you can do. Why would you sit there and put yourself in a financial position or a downfall where you're spending a lot of money to podcast and you don't have anything coming in? So you take these small steps to be able to, one, master your show, master your presentation, master your voice, how you talk. Go back and look at what you've done, learn, and then be able to grow bit by bit. Then you throwing money at it, and then what happens? You have a bad show, your lighting is off. And remember, with your podcast, and this is your presentation to the world.
Yes.
So everybody is going to see this, and you only get one chance. Okay, one chance. If the podcast is awful, if the presentation is awful, or if it looks like you're downstairs in your basement and there's no lights and they can barely hear your audio, they won't come back. It would take a move from heaven for them to come back, because they'll be like, oh no, I saw them years ago, they were trash. And that's why I always kept telling Frage, let's keep it simple so we can master everything that we need to master, because I'm of the philosophy where even if we spend $10, I want that $10 to look like $1,000 in presentation. I want people to be able to understand what that is. So when you get to a lot of those bigger platforms, the reason why some people break through to those bigger platforms and they get picked up by MSNBC, CBS, or anything of that nature is because their presentation is polished to the point that it's corporate level presentation. And so just take your time, be patient, learn the skill and the art of podcasting and expressing yourself, and you will definitely do good.
It is a skill. It's an art. So you said master your show, master your presentation, master your voice. 3 important things.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
also, number thing too, keep it simple. The number one basic
Yeah.
keep it simple. Because remember, when you keep it simple, easy to remember, easy to recognize, easy to hold accountable, easy to show better presentation and quality. And you remember, and like some people just starting out, like you have to learn what mic to use, what headphones to use, what audio to do. Can you do without doing all of that? Is it possible to do all of that? Because some people tell you take almost $2,000 to start off. Headphones, mics, stands, all that stuff. Believe it or not, me and George, we paid less than $100.
Yeah.
But we research a lot of research. If you do something, you will learn to research it and learn to better how the quality. Because it's stuff, believe it or not, like I was telling you how we have guests who have good things to say. It's also other material quality products that nobody recognize because they only know the big brands.
Right.
They don't know what the brand is. So a lot of other brands, they're very good in quality, and very less expensive that you can use to start off with.
Right.
That's what people make a mistake. Like George says, the number one mistake people make in podcasting is you overspend your budget.
Yep.
That's the number one thing you do. And everybody says that. If you look at Joe Rogan, he started in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell because he took time to perfect his craft to
Yeah.
the point where for 2 hours nobody cares no more. He got a 2-hour show and nobody really cares, you know.
Right.
I mean, and they listen to the whole 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's called the quality of knowledge. Because he perfected what he needed his presentation. So any young podcasters, perfect your craft.
I love it. Perfect your craft, perfect your presentation. And something very important, I think, because we live in a world where there's so much on-demand content, right? And it competes with a whole lot of things. It competes with, our families, our friends, our work, the Bible. It competes with reading books, just something as basic as reading a book. Is this what we're doing now, podcasting, the new form of books? Because, I mean, you guys are on Audible. Audible is a book streaming platform. Is this what we're seeing? Is this now where the new content is coming from? And do you think books might even, be rendered redundant in the future?
No. Let
No.
me explain why.
Okay.
We have a fear in this country of lack of books. Okay. If you go back, we think about what Hitler did and the Japanese did and everybody did. What's the first thing they did? They burned the books. So there's always going to be paperback books someplace in this country, at least in the United States. Now, will they be vastly accessible? Yeah, because we have built a system called the library. And look, even though we have cell phones or we can download books on Audible, not everybody's comfortable downloading a book on Audible or has the money or access to download a book on Audible. A lot of people don't know that the public library system in this particular country literally still services 50% of the people in that community, whether it's research, whether it's internet access, whether it's business. You know, how many times have you gone to the library to print out a paper, fax something? You see what I mean? So we'll never lose that particular part of it. And books are part of the structure. Amazon still pays writers, and I know this, a certain percentage of money every month that they send your book to a library or a paperback platform to get it into those platforms, whether it be Barnes and Nobles or wherever else they sell paperback books. But for those of us who are trying to quantify and qualify our time because we have so many different things going, yeah, I do spend time listening to audiobooks and doing things because I also learn by listening and I learn by watching. Sometimes when I'm reading so fast that I'm skipping over words. It's called speed reading or skimming. Yeah. I used to do this in college to get done with it, but I didn't have any attention. You see what I mean? So now when I go back, and I even do this with sermons that were really good for me that our pastor or bishop preached. I go back and I listen to it because I heard some of the things you were saying, but I didn't hear all the things you're saying. And it's no matter what it is, TD Jakes, every time I hear that message, I hear something new. So this media will always be here for us, and it's always new and it's easy. But I think some of the traditional medias that are out there, especially paperback, will not disappear.
True. And I'll tell you one thing.
I love the sound of that.
One thing about technology is there's not enough storage to hold as much knowledge as
Right.
books can hold and obtain. Even though you have a cell phone, even though you have so many other platforms, you still cannot download enough knowledge on that phone or that platform that you can hold in a book.
Right.
So remember, it's still called storage. As long as the limitation of storage, you can never download as much knowledge you really want to obtain. You have to delete something in order to get something else.
That's right.
When you read a book, you add another book. You keep adding books till you point you what you want to. And so a totally different system. Now we have a traditional system where the books, and now we have the modern technology where they don't really read books anymore. They don't really read full books anymore. If you notice, some books are now used to read from 1,000 pages down to 500 pages.
Right.
Because people don't read as much, or some of them don't feel the value into reading so many pages. They do, like George said, they skim through it. They get the base points, the most important points of the book, and they read through it. I know when I was in school, what I do was I read the back, the end, the middle.
Get the gist of it.
That's it. And I'm done.
We call it summarizing it. We call it summary reading. Like what you talk about summary reading. So, and then doing that, you do miss a lot. And when I say audio book come back and can help you reestablish what you already based to learn, it just confirms what you learned. It holds you accountable for what you learned, really accountable. And the second part of it is productivity. Because once you obtain what from the audio, now you know what you need to do to finish what you're studying or what you're researching. You know?
Yes.
So they all play a good part.
Absolutely. You know? Because think about it this way.
Yeah.
If you're in business and you have to learn something like tax sales certificates, you can go buy the books and the paperback, but depending on how fast you can read to get that knowledge will depend on how fast you will learn about tax sales certificates or not. Right. So with audiobooks now, because I'm a slow reader, if I read 100 pages in a day before somebody gets my attention on anything, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But now I can actually listen to a book about tax deferred certificates or tax sales certificate receipts in an hour and get all that information that I need to apply it immediately, than to sit there and be like, I'm still in this book. Time is passing. I'm losing money. You know, these plays with your head. I'm this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
It took me 1 week to read a book, and I could have had the information in an hour. So the speed of being able to get the knowledge that you need is really the push for audiobooks and everything of that nature, whether it's meditation, whether it's self-help, whether it's health and fitness, whether it's education, from financial education to astronomics. It's the speed of getting that information that helps you.
Absolutely. I mean, some people, yeah. Yes, Fraser.
Please.
Hold on. What I was saying was just clarify what you were saying is, over time, it evolves. Our species evolves. And what I mean by that is, at one point, we wrote on some stones, rocks. Then eventually moved into paper. Then eventually moved into now reading books and start writing books. So each time we progress. And while we're doing it, progressing within time. But sometimes in time, like George says, you skip things. You miss over things. You miss history. You miss certain things. That's why you see now, even though we're going into audio, but the next best thing is going to be visual. With National Geographic now did more videos on historic events, or you got Discovery Channel now doing more movies or more documentaries now on history, because the fact of the matter is you can read it, you can think about it, but some people still need to see what they're actually reading about to validate what they're talking about. So that's what I think over time is going to pay off, because accountability, productivity, and accountable on what you're actually taking in. You know?
Yes, because think about it this way, when it talks to visualization, you know, in America, we always have Black History Month. You know, the funny thing about Black History Month is everybody else get 30, 31 days, but we only get 28. Okay, so we always get shortchanged when it comes to Black History Month, right? So we also, our kids are moving around so fast that they're not paying attention to what's happening. So when you start to show them the images of what Jim Crow were, or they start seeing it and they start seeing the lynchings, that lynchings were town and community events, they all gathered to watch a lynching, you know, or when you start seeing the Selma bus riots or what those were about visually, it changes the entire thought process, and it changes the entire conversation, not just for us as our community, for our counterparts, because you have a lot of people that say, oh no, it can't be that bad, until they see the video. You know, I said in our show, and I'll say it here, cell phones have what saved our lives, because cell phones gave everybody else a glimpse into what we go through every day as people of color throughout the entire world. If they didn't see it, they wouldn't believe it. Oh no, it can't be that bad. There's no possible way you get stopped 3 or 4 times in a month. There's no possible way somebody's watching you in the store, or somebody just walks up to you and say whatever it is they want to say because they feel privileged to say it, until they see it on video. And then you notice what happened in the movement. A lot of people think that Black Lives Matter is just about Black people. But when you look at that crowd, it's mixed. There are more people
Yeah.
of other races in the movement. Why? Because they can't believe what is happening and what they're seeing. And they're here to let us know, just like with Martin Luther King, that they're with us. Everybody thinks King was marching by himself. No, there were white people and other nationalities that marched with King. You see what I mean? To
That's
get to where
amazing.
we were going, right? But the issue is, if you don't see it, then you all just be like, oh, Black power, Black power. No, no, no. There's something more that comes with that. And if you understand that as a whole community, we stood up. And during these times, we stand up as a whole community, as one people to say, no, this is not right. That's
Yeah.
what made
Exactly.
January 6th so shocking to the entire world. I knew we were in trouble when the president of France did a live news conference to ask for peace in Washington, D.C. I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in Fraser will tell you, I sent a video.
Yep.
I said, I sent a picture to him on WhatsApp. I said, we have no shame. The president of France is calling for peace in Washington, D.C. We have no shame.
Even here,
None whatsoever.
even here in South Africa, the ruling party was calling for peace in America.
Yes.
Everybody was like, this has to stop. What is going on? How is everybody just walking by and acting like everything is okay? It is not okay. It is absolutely not.
Yes.
So this is really powerful. This is a tool is literally changing the world. And you're right. I mean, if you think of the learning styles, there's visual, there's kinetics, there's auditory, and we learn in different ways. And that's what I appreciate about the platforms that are here. I mean, I know for one, I have my son has learning disabilities. So to be able to have access to visual and audio and just together to help shown me that so many things. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Before we end our show, because we do have 5 minutes left of the Boss Moves Media Show, featuring the Real Talk with George and Fraser, my face.
Okay.
How do you monetize podcasts?
Go ahead, Fraser.
Okay, one at a time, podcast can be done in many ways. You can actually have a platform called Popcorn where they actually give you sponsors. You can actually go and apply for sponsorship, and they give you details on how they want to run it, the reels, the beginning, post, pre-production, and like that. So those one way you can do it. Also, a way is actually doing footwork, going out, talk to people, explain about your show, explain what your topic of your show is, how it relates to their business, how their business can relate to you, and it tells you how to monetize that way because now you get advertising. You can bring it that way. One way advertising one way. Another way is to put on platforms where they pay for the amount of downloads you get. They're platformed that way, where you get a certain amount of downloads a month. They pay you $25, $30, or you can go save the amount depending on your show. And those two ways you can do it. The third way is actually just being you. A lot of times people are coming to you. And when you also ask about being you is as you progress, get notoriety, you build your brand, people start reaching out to you and hey, excuse me, can you do a show to advertise my business? I think it should be a perfect fit for my show.
Yeah.
You know, people start seeking you out. So you get seeked out by brands, products, or you look for the brand and product that way, or you go on certain websites that give you outlets to allow you to find the people you need to fit your program. Like right now, we have Breastsprout, which is part of our sponsorship. You would log on information and a link, and they give you something. You get a discount, and at the same time, you get notoriety and you get monetized that way. They have a lot of other places. They start new. The best way to do it is new companies.
Right.
The best way to get monetized, start out new companies who start the same way you start off. Build a relationship with your company, your brand. Don't just be just that person to be that monetary person. No, be that relationship. Build a relationship with them. Build a long-term relationship. And what I mean, as in negotiate, talk to them like your family. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? They good? You know? Oh, yeah. I slowed down a little bit. 20% went up. And went up 20%. How about we increase your money this way here, and you can apply it to marketing and apply it to this. They start helping you, and you help them. Help you, help them.
Nice.
So that's one good way to do it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. So, you mentioned popcorn, you mentioned footwork. So, do the work, build relationships, talk to people, be authentic. And that is the way to sell and just to kind of have a successful podcast, right? And I mean, you guys have what, 76 episodes now? Yo, you're
Yeah.
Yes,
going strong, hey? And where to from here for the George and the Real Talk with George and Fraser show?
day by
We got
day,
many plans. Day by day, day by day.
Yeah.
day by day.
Yeah.
We go back and we reassess. We
Yes.
see what we're doing. We're seeing how we're growing. We're seeing how many views and downloads we're getting, and then we'll just grow from there. We're not in a rush to be big. We're not in a rush to get a
You
thousand.
are big. Ah.
We're not in a rush to. Thank you. We appreciate it, but we're not in a
Yes, sir.
rush to be magnanimous, so to speak. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, there's still things that we feel like we have to work on. And we want to be able to work on that and keep that quality every step of the way. Like I said, so if we're spending $1,000 now, we want our presentation to look like $100,000. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's what we want to continue to strive and work on because we're not chasing anything but quality. So we rather have quality than quantity right now. And I think if we
And
stick with that type of
yeah,
mentality,
quality,
right, we'll be fine.
quality versus quantity. Are you guys in the same state? Because I have a feeling you guys don't even see each other a lot. Like you just meet online and you vibe.
No,
We
I
do.
Frazier and I have known each other for 7 years. We
Okay.
speak to Frazier almost every day, but I'm in New Jersey and Frazier's in Miami.
Oh, wow. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Hey? And that is
Yeah,
the future. I mean, I'm a radio broadcaster, and I know that this is the future of broadcasting in general. And you guys are such pioneers. You really are leading the way. And I mean, it's an absolute honor for me to have been one of your family members on the
that's
Real
right.
Talk with
That's
George and
right.
Fraser. And I can't wait to see all the great things that you have coming next. I mean, your energy is infectious. You guys are just amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Hey,
us
it's
on
been a
your show.
pleasure.
We
It's an honor.
appreciate you.
Honor.
I appreciate you. So please make sure you check them out. Who's the next interview and when is it?
Oh, that is Monday. And the funny
Monday.
is, we like keep everybody suspense.
I love it. I love it. Who does most of the production? Is it George or Fraser?
Frazier does the booking.
I do the booking.
Nice.
Joy do the other technical part. See, Joy does the part of the negotiating sometimes, and I do the booking, talk to people. I build a relationship, so we all build together.
Right.
It's a
I
one
love
good
that.
function.
I
One good
love that.
function.
You guys are on the money, man, and I really do appreciate you. I appreciate the relationships that you're building, the knowledge that you're sharing to the rest of the world, and may you continue to do great things. Thank you for joining the Boss Moves Media Show.
My pleasure.
Bye.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Oh man, what an incredible time with two amazing gentlemen, George and Fraser. That's how we wrap up episode 9 of the Boss Moves Media Show. I absolutely love you. Have yourself a great weekend. Make sure you stay safe, stay at home, and love on one another, love on yourselves. And I will see you next week right here on the Boss Moves Media Show. Thank you. Bye. I love George and Fraser. Don't you just love them? They're amazing. Bye bye. Bye for now.